How about the WNBA getting aggressive?
How about it?
I don't know.
Do you think they're going to start selling DBAP shirts
I'm not watching.
anytime soon?
Have you watched WNBA since you found Ion?
Hey, Christine Brennan, DBAP. That's what the WNBA is saying.
So Christine Brennan, USA Today, who columnist who says that there's sexism going on in sports. She, whether you agree or not, she has written many a column about women's rights, equal pay, the having a seat at the table, much of that. She's following around Caitlin Clark, or has been, with the Indiana Fever for a season. She's writing a book about Caitlin Clark. And asked Dejanay Carrington about, the claw in the eye. I was going to say poke, but it's more of a claw, Chad. And wouldn't you know it, but the WNBA Players Association, which I believe just formed, put out
something
a statement.
else that Caitlin Clark did for them.
Yeah,
Congrats.
well,
gave them a union too. Good job, Caitlin.
They
finally got them to organize.
They put out this statement on Instagram, condemning Christine Brennan in her unprofessional ways for asking questions to Dejanay Carrington. This week was dedicated. And by the way, it says a message on behalf of the 144.
The 144 being the 144 players in the league?
Yeah, including Caitlin Clark.
She's a part of this. She's a part of this union, I assume.
This week was dedicated to celebrating and amplifying Aja, Caitlin, Dejanay, Nafessa.
Nafisa or Nafessa?
Nafessa.
And Nafisa.
For their hard work and truly exceptional performances all season long. All the awards were announced. We were not going to distract from their successes, nor will we dim the glow of the spotlight that centered them. They have earned that focus and celebration. But we will take a moment now to stand up for them and the rest of our members, every single one of them, because we call BS. To unprofessional members of the media like Christine Brennan, you're not fooling anyone. That so-called interview in the name of journalism was a blatant attempt to bait a professional athlete into participating in a narrative that is false and designed to fuel racist, homophobic, and misogynistic vitriol on social media. You cannot hide behind your tenure. Instead of demonstrating the cornerstones of journalism ethics like integrity, objectivity, and a fundamental commitment to truth, you have chosen to be indecent and downright insincere. You have abused your privileges and do not deserve the credentials issued to you. And you certainly are not entitled to any interviews with the members of this union or any other athlete in sport. Those credentials mean that you can ask anything, but they also mean that you know the difference between what you should and should not. We see you. Our relationship with the media is a delicate one that we will continue to strengthen because the media is essential to growing the game. No one knows that better than we do, but the players are entitled to better. They are entitled to professionalism. We called the USA Today Network to review its principles of ethical conduct for newsrooms and address what we believe is a violation of several core principles, including seeking and reporting the truth. USA Today Sports should explain why a reporter with clear bias and ulterior motives was assigned to cover the league. We also urge the league to review its policies and take measures to prevent such issues, protecting the integrity of the game and its players. Terry Carmichael Jackson is the executive director of the WNBA PA.
TCJ is what I call her.
Fair enough. She calls it the W.
Yeah, the W. She's TCJ.
The WPA.
Those in the know call her TCJ.
Right, yes.
And Nafisa.
Christine Brennan asked this question to Dejanay Carrington.
Dejanay, did you, when you went and kind of swatted at Caitlin, did you intend to hit her in the eye? And if so, could you just, or if not, either way, could you talk about what happened on that play?
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me. But no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am. So yeah.
Did you and Marina kind of laugh about it afterwards? It looked like there was later on in the game they caught you guys laughing about it.
No, I just told you I didn't even know I hit her. So I can't laugh about something I didn't know happened. With the increase.
That was apparently the baiting questions asked.
I thought Dejanay Carrington handled it fine with those questions. their questions. Like, as a reporter, if you ask someone or an interviewer, you can't control their answers to the questions, but you just ask the questions that everyone's talking about. And I'm here to tell you right now, Christine Brennan ain't on the side of all the people that Dejanay Carrington and everyone else seem to hate so much. They're not on the side of people who only started watching the WNBA because of Caitlin Clark. She is on your side, Christine Brennan is. She is queen of the wokes. I don't know why that she's the target of all of this from the WNBA, because she is squarely on your side on all of these different arguments. I think she's given you an opportunity and hoping that you would explain that it wasn't intentional, which she said, that it wasn't intentional, and that they weren't laughing about that. And she said, I can't laugh about something I didn't know would happen, and that was her answer to all of it. This is a very strange play by the WNBA Players Union, whatever, the 144, whatever it is, with what, DJC? Is that what I'm calling her? DCJ? Whoever it is. It's very strange. I'm very confused by this. Now, maybe they're upset that Christine Brennan is writing a book about Caitlin Clark, so they feel like she's going to profit from Caitlin Clark, and this is an underhanded move to just get more info for her book, and they don't appreciate that part of it. But Hutton, I think ultimately what we have here, and I think what we're seeing with a lot of this, you know, if you go back to the statement, it says something about you're spinning into this racist, misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic, all the phobias, all the phobics are in there. You're the one that's trying to get the reaction to that. It's very odd to say that and defend someone that has posted what Dejanay Carrington did online. No one forced her to do that. No one forced her to blame Caitlin Clark fans for the racism in the world. No one did any of that. That's her inviting those things. So what we have now, I think, and what we have in a lot of different avenues of sport in America, people have developed an allergen to disagreement. Just like a peanut allergy, which wasn't even a thing 40 years ago. And now you go to any elementary school or daycare, you can't bring peanut butter because American kids have developed a peanut allergy. Well, now American adults in their 20s have developed an allergy to disagreement. If you post an opinion online, someone might disagree with that opinion, and you as an adult have to deal with it however you want. You don't get to post something, expect everyone to agree with you, which many people disagree with Dejanay Carrington, and then blame all disagreement on racism. Or then act like it's everyone else trying to put racism and misogyny on it when you were the one who posted these things. Just like you have a right to say something that I might think is not that smart, I have a right to disagree with it. Everyone else does too. We're allergic to disagreement. And this is the WNBA Players Association, Hutton, saying we are allergic to disagreement. And how dare Christine Brennan ask a question that might get people that disagree with our broader stance on all race issues to disagree with us again? How dare you?
It also comes across as extremely foolish and ignorant to go after Christine Brennan.
Yes.
One of the biggest
advocate
of the WNBA period, writing a book about Caitlin Clark. Ratings are up because of Caitlin Clark. You've got all of this great publicity headed your way, and they can't get out of their own way. By the way, the USA Today, who was called out in that statement to condemn Christine Brennan, has this statement released from Roxana Scott, the USA Today sports executive editor. Journalists ask questions and seek truth. At USA Today, our mission is to report in an unbiased manner. We reject the notion that the interview perpetuated any narrative other than to get the player's perspective directly. Christine Brennan is well regarded as an advocate for women and athletes.
Advocate.
But first and foremost, she's a journalist.
Journo with a big capital J. That's her. That's what they're going to tell everyone. It's an odd target. It's an odd target.
It is the definition of throwing things together and immediately trying to be offended about anything.
Well, you know, if
like this players union, like, can you? I mean, this is the same league that they're looking for truth. It's the same league that won't allow Dan Z to go and ask a question about
that's exactly
trans athletes in the WNBA.
That was exactly my point, Hutton. If Dan Z had asked this question and there was a statement about Dan Z, and how he shouldn't have a credential,
Yeah.
I would have just said, oh, well, that makes sense that they would have done that because that plays in line with everything that they're about. But to go after Christine Brennan, now Dan Z can't even get a credential, as you mentioned, to begin with, so he can't even ask those questions. But if they would have joined together to unite, this would have been like Florida Gators or the SEC banding together to say Clay Travis shouldn't ask questions about Tim Tebow's virginity. And because of that, he's unprofessional, and whoever employs him should look into his employment and yada, yada, yada. I at least would have understood that. I thought it would have been crazy and weak to do that, but I would have understood where they were coming from. I can't even understand this one because of who they're attacking and someone who's going to fight for them. But I bet we could go down the list, and some of the foolish race-baiting things that have been posted online from WNBA players, I bet Christine Brennan's liked half of them or reposted most of them.
But
she likely agrees with all of them.
But going after Christine Brennan for asking a question about the eye poke, like what is going on? It is complaining about that. It's ridiculous. And then acting like the player was baited. She clearly wasn't. Even she answered it like you said. Dejanay Carrington handled it well, but it wasn't a hard question to answer. Did you do this intentionally?
It's not like she's getting badgered either. She's asked a question and a follow-up question about people catching on video laughing with teammates later, and she answered both of them fine.
Which we have seen players laugh about the physicality with Caitlin Clark.
Here's the thing. I think it was intentional. Okay, my opinion.
I do too, based on the second view.
I'm watching it, and her hand is in one position to block a shot, and she goes down with her claw, and it goes right into her eye. Maybe it wasn't. She's saying it wasn't. I think it was.
She says she doesn't even know that she touched
We're
her.
entitled to have that opinion. I think it's ridiculous to act like if you didn't know that you hit her in the eye, even more of a reason to ban clip-on nails or nails that long in a basketball game. You can't feel your nail to the point that you stuck it in someone's cornea and you didn't know. And later in the game, I didn't even know that I hit it. What are you talking about? Anyone who's ever played a sport, if you slap somebody in the face, you know you slapped them in the face. If you poke them in the eye, I've done it on accident, but you know you poked someone in the eye and you feel bad about it. Or at least you're aware that you did it. But she has no feeling in that because it's a press-on nail or it's so long. It's not attached to her body. It's no longer an appendage. It's just a weapon on the court. Ban this stuff, WNBA, please. I don't understand how you can have nails this long playing this sport. It's ridiculous. But all of this just leads to we know what the reaction's going to be, right? Anybody can watch the video and have their own opinion on it. And to think that this is something that, now Christine Brennan's asking a question about it, so now people are going to be mean to her online. No, people were already doing that because they watched the video of it, and they coupled that with things you said online about Caitlin Clark, and you blaming her for things she doesn't get any blame for. I'm sorry. She doesn't deserve any blame for what you're blaming her for. So now it's just not enough for Caitlin Clark to take the high road and say, she didn't do it intentionally. She's handled herself well. She's saying the right things. But now she needs to be more outspoken. Right now she needs to say stuff that maybe she doesn't even agree with. So it's foolish, Hutton. And I was actually optimistic that the WNBA would take a big step with Caitlin Clark and the whole league would start to benefit. And more I see stuff like this and other players that we're going to get to that and media members that are like, hey, just don't watch it all. I'm skeptical that they're actually going to get the big benefit that I thought they would.
They don't allow it to be fun.
Outside of her games.
They don't allow it to be fun. Now, are there trolls on social media? Yes.
Of course.
Of course. In all corners of the web. And should they be, sending and posting threats or racial slurs? No, absolutely not. But there's this sentiment that it's the new fans of the WNBA that are doing this, which would, that's insinuating that it is Caitlin Clark fans, Indiana Fever fans. You've got Dejanay Carrington's girlfriend who was saying that that Carrington was receiving death threats, that she's being followed after this eye poke.
Well, let's prosecute these people.
But again, I know that OutKick reached out to them on social. No response.
Well, no, but I would like to see that. If
you would
someone,
like to see this.
If someone has an account that's posting these things, that's not some Russian bot with 18 numbers at the end of it with 2 followers and 8 posts, then let's out them. I'm all for this. Fair is
Absolutely.
fair.
And
I
think it exists.
Yeah, and if someone, and now everywhere. The claims are that they're getting racial slurs yelled at them by a fan in Indiana.
Right, and that's coming through Brittany Griner, who said this.
How do you feel about what has happened over the past year with the W since you first came in to where it is now? And obviously the game has grown and people there's new fans, but how do you appreciate the new fans without all the noise that's coming?
I don't appreciate the new fans that sit there and yell racial slurs at myself, my teammates, and the people that I play against, because those might be opponents, but those are friends too. They don't deserve that. So I don't appreciate the new fans. I think it's okay to do that. But I do appreciate the new fans that respect the game, that are here to grow our league. Bringing people that may have not ever watched the W, to a WNBA game, so we can grow more fans. I do appreciate them. I appreciate the players that came in, and that are coming in with the spark that they have playing at the level that they're playing at. We need more players coming in ready to put on a show and ready to give a good product, so we can keep growing each year. I'm happy about where the game is now versus when I came into the league.
The W. Let's address the league as the W, if you're asking questions. So asking about the new fans, and immediately going to, I don't appreciate the new fans who are, online or in the crowd. Has the media covering this league not heard this? Wouldn't you think they would hear something?
Well, someone.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like from the stands?
And she says the fans that are yelling racial slurs at games and going to games. Look, if that's happening, obviously terrible.
Yes.
But this is, again, an example of, instead of doing this, like if you want to be someone who doesn't incite racism or culture war or a battle back and forth and this and that, stop it right away. And if you hear that, then go to someone and say, this person is saying this word to me. And see how that person responds in the moment during a timeout or whatever.
This is the new fan.
However you want to handle it.
This is the new fan. What about the old fan who hears this? Are they not going to someone?
I'm fine.
Every arena in America has the report. If someone is being indecent, report it by texting, blah, blah, blah.
I'm fine with Brittany Griner kicking this person's ass.
Sure.
If someone said that to her or one of her teammates. I'd rather that be the thing we're talking about than these vague accusations of people and fans, plural, that are just, are these games being played in the Jim Crow South in 1955? Where are they going to play these games? Let's look at the markets across the WNBA. Do we really think that some white supremacist is buying a WNBA ticket to go and yell racial slurs at Brittany Griner?
But to do it,
and if they did,
stands.
Let's find them and let's unmask them.
They won't be hard to find if they're shouting this and the players can hear it. Players and coaches can hear this.
I don't want to call someone a liar, but what I will call someone is someone who emotionally gets tied into something and then starts to create a false narrative. And I think that's where we are now. I see a couple of trolls, and that must mean that all of America is racist. It's just jumping to a conclusion that doesn't exist. Or
Caitlin Clark fans.
Yeah, or all of Caitlin Clark's. Caitlin Clark represents, this is what Dejanay Carrington essentially said in a social post.
Yep.
All of her fans represent racism, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia in America. And as a great player and someone who can change, she needs to speak out against them.
I don't understand if that is coming from the arena, why we're here in the postseason when it's been going on apparently all season. Didn't happen prior to Caitlin Clark entering the league. It was going on all season. And now we're, just now getting to a point where you have Brittany Griner answering a question about new fans in September. I'm not saying she doesn't face criticism or that trolls are everywhere, are posting things like this or sending things like that to whoever. But, yeah, go after the person, not the group, because the person doesn't represent the group. And how do you know it's a new fan shouting that, by the way? You don't. That's really the accusation.
Well, I mean, look, if multiple people heard someone yelling a racial slur, if a player heard a racial slur on the court or in a huddle, other people would hear it.
Is it like
that to me, if that moment happened, awesome. You outed the racist person who's shouting racial slurs at you. I bet people around them would have heard it too and could vouch.
But
your teammates could vouch. You could point them out.
Is it only at Fever games?
After the fact, I don't know.
The new fan is going to the Sun Mercury game?
I find it hard to believe that someone's going to purchase with their own money a ticket to a W game.
Right.
For the purpose of going and getting, drunk off $3 Miller Lights at a WNBA game to yell racial slurs at players.
And
if they are, let's let this go public and let's see who they are.
So what are they yelling? What are they yelling at Angel Reece, who's at it again? Villain would be the word that would set her off. Or she would embrace it, depending on the day. Here's Angel Reece this past June.
It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me, too, and I want y'all to realize that.
When we go down in history, we'll look back on this, and I'll take on that role. I'll be the bad guy. I wish she would just make up her mind because she's on social media yesterday now posting the complete opposite. Once again, here's post number 1. I've never in my life had privilege, but I definitely know the power I have through my platform. That didn't come overnight. I grew that on my own, on all caps. With that being said, I will continue to use my voice in the right way and say what's right, even though it has backfired on me to be this quote-unquote villain. I won't stop. Post number 2. For the past 2 years, the media has benefited from my pain and me being villainized to create a narrative. They allowed this. This was beneficial to them. I sometimes share my experiences of things that have happened to me, but I've also allowed this to happen to me for way too long, and now other players in this league are dealing with and experiencing the same things. This isn't okay at all. Anything beyond criticism about playing the game we love is wrong. I'm sorry to all the players that continue to experience the same things I have. This is why I started my podcast, to take my voice back, to create the narrative of who I really am. At the end of the day, I don't want an apology, nor do I think this will ever stop, but something has to change, ... That from Angel Reece, who, again, not like 3 years ago, 3 months ago, is saying the exact opposite of, hey, I'll just embrace it, I'll be the bad guy. I mean, maybe this is the long play of her actually embracing it and being the bad guy by posting something like this, so we'll talk about her. But, I mean, in episode 1 of her podcast, for the actual logo and the image that went along with the podcast, there's Caitlin Clark on it. Caitlin Clark's in the headline. I mean, she's not writing that. There's a company that's doing that, that's producing that on her. I wonder why that is, Chad. Because of the clicks. And here is Angel Reece getting clicks again. And this is not like split personality. This is not like bipolar to me. This is she craves not just being the center of attention, not just having the cameras in the spotlight. She craves being the hero, not the villain. She's got to experience love. Everyone's got to be as crazy about Angel Reece as you are Caitlin Clark. I think there's a jealousy factor there. But beyond that, here it is back and forth, whining about the media creating this. Angel Reece creates this because she won't pick whether or not she's going to be the bad guy or not. And not like she has to always be the bad guy. In fact, I thought like the rivalry's over, Chad. between her and Caitlin
Yeah, they
Clark.
seem really friendly now. That All-Star game really clicked with them.
But like the media aspect of it, like blaming the WNBA media, the same league that won't allow certain reporters into press conferences in order to ask questions. They're controlling the narrative too. I don't understand how that the WNBA media is to blame for Angel Reece and everything that she experiences. It makes no sense to me.
You know, I note here that I've not followed the WNBA every season, but I have followed it more this year because of the interest in Caitlin Clark and television ratings being up and everything else. Is everyone in this league always this unhappy? Like, is everybody this miserable? Even Caitlin Clark seems miserable in interviews to talk about games, talk about anything. I don't feel like anybody's having any fun. And it's incredible how much a little bit of gratitude will go. And there is not a single grateful person I ever hear from in this league. And Angel Reece is a prime example of this. In that post on social media, she said, I have never once had privilege in my life. Give me a break.
Right.
You are a God-gifted 6'3" great athlete who had privilege throughout her youth athletic career, had privilege in high school as a great player, got to go on a full ride and make millions in NIL at LSU. You're one of the top picks in the top professional league in your sport. And now you are privileged everywhere you go. Be thankful for that. I have a hell of a lot more respect for people who walk around with gratitude. Do you know how many people play sports and would love to be Angel Reece and would be grateful every day they wake up to be Angel Reece? Instead, you want to win the struggle Olympics. And I'm tired of people constantly trying to win the struggle Olympics. I really admire people who are grateful in all circumstances, even when they're not great. Think about people with health problems. Think about people that are in way worse shape than you are, Angel Reece. Don't give me this, I've never had privilege. I've had privilege. Hutton's had a lot of privilege.
Of course.
There are a lot of people who are successful in any field that should be able to be honest with themselves and say, you know, I did get a break along the way. This person helped me out. This person was nice to me when they didn't have to be. I'm very grateful to be where I am right now. I'm grateful to be where I am right now, and I've had privilege. Do not tell me that you have not had privilege along the way. That is such a crock.
Well,
and I
Chad,
get tired of people trying to win the struggle Olympics. It happens nonstop.
You ask, can anyone in the league be happy?
Example.
The answer is no, because
everyone's miserable.
They welcome it. It's like they have to be pissed off about something other than the sport they love, as Angel Reece is referred to. And what do the statements say? Anything beyond this, asking or discussing or criticizing, any criticism beyond the sport we love is unacceptable. Well, then stop making it about anything other than the sport you love.
Yeah, then keep it to sports.
Yeah.
Don't post anything what you feel about Caitlin Clark fans or new fans with racial slurs and racism and elections and this. Just then stop with that if you don't want it ever to be a part of that. But the moment you do it, Hutton, and a theme that we've talked about a lot, right? The moment you go down that road, you are opening yourself up to criticism from different people. And you must be okay with that. If you're not okay with it, then delete your social media profile and go live in a cave. Go to practice, go home,
they won't allow
go to games, go home. If you don't want to see people being mean to you, delete the internet. Don't pay for Wi-Fi. Don't get online. Don't look at Facebook. Don't look at Instagram. People are mean. This is a fact in life. And it's not going to change anytime soon.
And they want
trolls will exist.
I guess, you know, she doesn't want the media, who again is the one spreading all of this, all of the villain aspects of Angel Reece, which is laughable.
But here's what's
she doesn't want them
about
sharing the idea that she has a podcast now, right? Like, don't do that. Don't promote the podcast through media.
Well, this is the hypocritical part about it, right? If they post something, Hutton, again, it goes back to having the allergy to disagreement.
Yeah.
If media members that agree with them are retweeting them, posting it, they love that.
Yes.
But the moment OutKick gets a hold of it, or some reporter that maybe all of that reporter's followers don't agree with you
Christine Brennan now
then
can't
they
do that.
repost and say, oh, gosh, now people that disagree with me have seen it, and they may not like it. And, oh, now you're feeding the monster because people that disagree with me have seen this, and now I can't handle that. It doesn't work that way. If you post something, you want publicity for it. you're trying to publicly put that out there, then you have to be a big girl and deal with the consequences of that.
Chad, Christine Brennan asked this question to DJ Carrington, and it was, according to the WNBA Players Association, was it was participating in a narrative that is false and designed to fuel racist, homophobic, and misogynistic vitriol on social media. Here is what they claim was designed to perpetuate all of that.
DJ, did you, when you went and kind of swatted at Caitlin, did you intend to hit her in the eye? And if so, could you just, or if not, either way, could you talk about what happened on that play?
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me. But no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am. So yeah.
Did you and Marina kind of laugh about it afterwards? It looked like there was later on in the game they caught you guys laughing about
what
it.
What a racist, homophobic, and misogynistic
I just told
question
you
to
I
ask.
didn't even know I hit her. So I can't laugh about something I didn't know happened. With the increase.
Oh, how offended she appeared to be by having to answer that question. Come on.
I mean, you would think with that statement that she like pinned her into a corner physically and started screaming at her like a witness on the witness stand.
Yeah.
And just started, tell us about Monica Lewinsky. One of those moments. And instead, she's just, even if it wasn't, can you explain what happened?
If you read this statement
Great.
and didn't hear that question, wouldn't you think that Christine Brennan asked her, do you hate white people?
Yeah.
That's what it comes across
setting
as.
her up.
But
And
it's so. The USA Today Sports is having to release a statement backing Christine Brennan, who backs the WNBA. They hate the media that loves them.
I also hate to pick nits here, but to say it's never intentional, well, that's just false. Everyone has committed an intentional foul before.
That wasn't even a foul.
At some point, it's intentional. Now, you could say
It was
that's not
intentional that they didn't call a foul.
But you've probably committed an intentional foul before. I think anyone who's ever played the sport could probably raise their hand, even if you're just trying to foul intentionally to stop the clock. It's never intentional. No, it's intentional sometimes. There's been intentional fouls before. Can't confirm.
Pretty big game coming up.
By the way, Christine Brennan, who was too woke for John Feinstein, is getting hammered. I was thinking about that the whole time. John Feinstein didn't like her because she was too far left.
I mean, just if you Google...
Keith Olbermann thinks this person's on his team. And she's getting crucified. She's at Golgotha with Deion Sanders on the cross.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
She is, was it Mary Magdalene?
Yeah. She's washing feet.
Yeah. I mean, Christine Brennan and Clay have gone back and forth a lot, right?
Yeah, she's in the woke Olympic brackets or whatever. Woke, not the
well, that's the best way to describe it.
The woke tournament or whatever we do at OutKick.
Yes.
I forget the name of it.
Yes. So, speaking of Clay, by the way, he's going to be interviewing President Donald Trump.
Oh, God. Can you imagine if the WNBA gets a hold of this info, what they're going to say about Clay?
This is coming up tomorrow.
Kiss that damn media pass.
OutKick.com exclusive.
This man once interviewed a former president. He's out.
Yeah, Trump will be at the Georgia-Alabama game in Tuscaloosa, and Clay's headed there. OutKick crew's headed there. And we will have this. The goal is to have the interview posted by halftime of the Tide and the Bulldogs.
Let's do it.
Check it
Let's
out
make
at OutKick.com.
It's going to be some good halftime coverage.
Yep.
But Clay can now kiss his opportunity to cover that new Portland WNBA franchise forever. He's not going to get a credential to that.
Right.
He can interview former presidents and possible future presidents, but hey, Phoenix Mercury. By the way, that Phoenix Mercury, I guess it was a media relations worker. She looked like she was 14.
Yeah, that's the media.
It looked like take your little sister to work day.
That's what, to me, that's
she
what
was. I
that's
mean,
what the PA wants them to get back to. You have Christine Brennan covering your league.
She looked very uncomfortable, too, when Brittany started saying all the stuff about racial slurs.
Hey, L. Duncan, remove your credential, GTFO.
You could tell that media relations person was like, damn it, I'm going to have to work today.
L. Duncan, you're not allowed here anymore.
I'm going to have to actually take some calls on what you just said.
We see you, L. Duncan.
We see you.
Let's start naming off of anybody like Christine Brennan who supports everything that they're about.
We see you.
The players are entitled to better.
Well,
This high school journalist that was covering us 5 years ago.
If you're going to cover this league, you better agree with us on all points. Because if not, you're racist, homophobic, misogynistic.
We call on the USA Today Network.
You do not get to have a credential ever.
They called on the USA Today Network to review the principles of ethical conduct of newsrooms.
Do you think that they do like a sleight of hand, like a test to get in the media there where you have to just check boxes? Like, what's your opinion on the border, on the southern border? And you have to answer it. And if you don't answer it the right way, you're rejected for a credential.
Do you work for OutKick?
Are you pro-life or pro-choice? And you have to explain in one paragraph.
Do you care about trans athletes in sport?
Did you vote for Mitt Romney? If so, why?
Do you know Christine Brennan is now one of them?
Yes.
Add that.
Yes.
Coming up.
Are you aware of the W and not WNBA?
Do you refer to this league as the WNBA?
If you refer to it as WNBA, then you're out.
What if the NBA came back and said, no, it's the WNBA?
Your thoughts on the Second Amendment in 2 paragraphs, please.
Equal pay. Which Christine Brennan is for, by the way.
Megan Rapinoe, American hero or not? Explain.
Oh, man.
I'd love to just have to sit down and take a test, like the ACT.
We should make up our own.
To get in. We need to
cover the WNBA.
We need to make the WNBA media entrant exam.
It's very difficult.
That is what we need to come up with.
We're coming up with a test that Christine Brennan would fail.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
We'll post it, and we'll see if you pass. And if you pass, you can cover the new Portland WNBA franchise. Where are they going to? Portland? Toronto? There's 3 teams coming to the league.
Will you cover a game where Caitlin Clark isn't playing?
That's also a question you have to answer.
Yeah, and drive there.
You better answer yes.
Yep.
And stay in an Econo Lodge on the outskirts of town.
Only ask questions that we hand you.
Because no one's paying for better accommodations than that. We know that. At least media companies aren't to go cover the WNBA.
I mean, real quick.
I think Dan Z drove 400 miles to his game and then was rejected at a credential.
Is the only example I can think of the WNBA or the PA or whoever asking or
the 144
of the 144, and this was, I believe, just the team of coming to the defense of Caitlin Clark was the Greg Doyle question and answer from like game 1. Is that the only time that we've actually heard?
But the Greg Doyle thing, I don't think that was. I don't think the union said anything. The team did.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
The Fever said
but
something.
Is that the only instance? I don't know. That maybe there's more than that. But
by the way, I have way bigger issues with Greg Doyle's line of questioning to Caitlin Clark than I do with anything Christine Brennan asked Dejanay Carrington.